Hi,
Hello.
we're on live, so we're working it out, looks like.
That was interesting.
I know. For all of you who are on, welcome. This is our Taya Talk on Wednesday. I'm Nicole, I'm the host today, and we will be chatting with Erica. And the one thing I love so much about Taya is I'm on the East Coast and you're on the West Coast right now. So we have both time zones and everything in between.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm well.
Good,
Little glitches
good.
getting in, but I'm.
It's so good to get to chat with you.
I know I'm very excited to chat with you too.
So, tell me a little bit about your journey with Taya.
Yeah. Well, I started the Taya Bootcamp in May of this year, and I had
Mhm.
been listening to the Stream of David podcast for a while, and I had heard about Bootcamp, and I always told myself that's something I'm going to do.
Mhm.
Um, but I guess in May, it just kind of aligned timing wise for me. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, so it's been a beautiful experience. And I'll share a little. Back in 2014, I lost my longtime partner and the father of my daughters, and so I kind of went on like a self healing journey and did a lot of like self development and self help. So I was in
Mhm.
that arena for a long time. And then I try to remember, I don't even remember how I got introduced to the Stream of David podcast and the group on
Mhm.
Facebook and everything. But I know it just had to have been magical. Um, and so after doing so much of the self help and trying to work on things on my own, it was just really nice to join a community of people who were there to help and support me along my way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I love how you said magical. I feel like that was my experience as well because I also started with the podcasts, and I think from the podcasts, like David mentions the Facebook page, and just had gotten connected with that. And I love the community that we're in. So it's great because there's just so many layers to Taya. And this is like only the beginning for people who are just new to the page, new to the practice. For those who might be like brand spanking new, Taya means trust your abundance. And for me, I thought trusting my abundance was all about creating more abundance, which you can do, but
Right.
it also is living life without fear and judgment, which is like a daily practice in and of itself. And trusting whatever comes is meant to serve me in some way. So I love that we get to learn. I just want to say real quick if anybody has any questions, I can't see it unfortunately. So we're just going to chat. And you can always find Erica and I on the page. Feel free to reach out to us and pose questions at a later time. But I apologize because I can't see it. We're kind of taking over for David today. So we're just rolling with it. Um, so, one of the other things that I wanted to talk to you about was how we met. We got to meet through the mentor program, which is awesome. And that started for me when I was graduating boot camp because I had started October uh, 2019. It's like crazy how time flies. And then
Right.
you and I got to meet in the mentor program. And then through the mentor program, we're now learning to be coaches for Thai boot campers, which is so exciting to just create a relationship with somebody who's over in California and like go on this journey with you. And, because I feel like with COVID, it really changed the way relationships develop. It's not so like one on one anymore, although we'll
Mhm.
eventually get to see each other. We have a summit coming up in January in LA, but I just love that we can establish a relationship through technology and like grow on this healing journey together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when we signed up to do this talk, I was excited because Nicole, yeah, was my mentor in the boot camp program. And that's what's just so awesome about the boot camp program is that you have so much community and so much people behind you. And so that's kind of something I never had before in, self-help classes I was trying to take on my own. Just that sense of people cheering you on. And so now for me, it's super exciting because I did the boot camp experience and I'm still involved with everybody in Taya. And it's just great to now see people coming into the program and the changes that they're making in their life. It's magical. Like
I
that
know,
word
for
is just
sure.
coming up.
For sure. And even when it doesn't feel good, because recently David posted about his marketing spinout, and spinout is a term that we've kind of taken on in Taya. And so even when it isn't magical or doesn't feel magical in that moment, and for those of you who are on the page and saw his post about the marketing snafu, he was able to like take a step back and get in better alignment with what it was that he truly desired for getting this message out to people and helping them to, for me, it was trying to figure out a way to connect the dots in a tangible way with tangible tools and a tangible practice. And I just admire his transparency and authenticity, which he's been since day one. I mean, I've been listening to David's podcast for like 4 years now. So that's definitely something I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, that whole scenario. I mean, it just goes to show like it's a daily practice
Mhm.
and the leader of the boot camp of the program is in that daily practice. And like for me, it was such a whoa, like sharing that journey for himself with everybody
Mhm.
else,
True.
instead of just trying to forge forward and make things work. It's often so much better to take that step back and really look at how things are going.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said it, he gets to apply the tools as well. Like yeah, I'm in the mastery program, so I am a master. And like, so we say, like, you never really get to master it, but you get to practice it in a mastery way. And I feel like for him, like, he's getting to master the tools in his own life and in his business, and then gets to share it with us. And I think that's so awesome.
Right? Because
Hmm.
it's like learning as you go. I mean, it's
Hmm.
really, and just putting it into practice in everyday life. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now you have something brand new that happened to you. Do you want to share about that?
yeah, I will. So, I decided to start a venture with my partner, my now boyfriend, a business venture. And so he's a heavy equipment mechanic, but we just decided that it'd be cool for us to have our own business. And so
Mm-hmm.
we just started that up. And I mean, I have to thank Taya for that in the sense that I'm really the same, just kind of learning as I go and I'm being okay with it. I don't need
Mm-hmm.
everything to be right now today, but it's a process and it's a journey. And so we're just starting it out. We purchased a backhoe and a truck and a trailer, and we're just learning as we go. But I
Mm-hmm.
think, so for so many of us, we always wait to start things until we're ready, until we're ready. And when are we ever really ready? Right?
Mm-hmm. This
And
is
so for me, it was just that decision I had to make to kind of just trust the process and really know that it was gonna turn out okay. So we're just starting. We haven't done too much yet, but we're getting there. Our goal is now, for the beginning of the year, just learning all about what we have to do and get stuff
Mhm.
going.
I think it's like a great opportunity, and I think that you starting it now with the Tide tools is awesome because when you were saying about learning as you go and then setting your intentions, it just made me think of when I was in boot camp. I was going through it when COVID was happening. And my daughter, she's now 3, but at the time, I guess 2, when she was a baby, she was hospitalized twice because she had RSV and breathing issues. And so when COVID was happening and you knew it was like affecting respiratory illnesses, I just set the intention that she and I would stay healthy the whole time. And I just continued that intention because now she's in daycare. Well, not daycare, she's in preschool. And so like she's around germs all the time. And I'm like, I know we're going to have a healthy experience, and I wouldn't be so trusting of my intentions if it hadn't been for Taya.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that.
Hmm.
Now, and that's another one I always try to remember is the intentions, the daily intentions, and just really, trying to set those intentions. It was funny. This morning was a little hectic for me getting the kids off to school and knowing I had this call coming up. So it was a little
Hmm.
rushed this morning. And I got in the car, and on my way home after dropping off my daughter, I was
Hmm.
thinking to myself, like, you didn't set your
Yeah.
intention. Like, let's take some breaths, calm down, and set the intention for a great morning, a great chat, with Nicole.
Yes, yes. It
Yeah.
is so great because I've noticed if I don't set my intention, and I can set it at any moment, at any time, like we're doing now, then I get into that get it done mode, and then I'm just hammering, and it just starts to unravel, and I'm not having the joy of the experience. So I feel like setting the intention is like also calling in the joy and imperfection of it.
Absolutely, and it just kinda, like, makes you realize, we're both moms, and so we
Yes.
know we know we know you can easily get lost and wrapped up in, just the everyday chaos of being a mom sometimes,
Hmm.
but it's when you set those intentions, you're able to laugh. I had a funny experience, gosh, months ago, but it was when I was in the boot camp,
Hmm.
and I have two older daughters as well, but they've moved out. But I had one staying with me for a while, and I had her dog and my new puppy, and they
Oh.
were chasing the cats, and I
Yeah.
spilled a cup of water, and I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and she was just, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, we're just going to get the dogs in their place and the cats in theirs and clean up the water. Like, but she was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're being so calm right now.
True. True. I was going to ask you too, and you kind of already talked about it, but how Taya has helped you with your parenting and relationship with your children.
Yeah, I think it's been instrumental. It's so helpful because just in boot camp we talk about a lot about judgment, right, and judging others experiences. And
Hmm.
so for me, I have an 8-year-old, and she's pretty sassy. She just really is. And I constantly want to, or I did constantly want to change her experience and make her, and I still completely encourage her, but
Hmm.
I really just learned to allow her to be her and experience things how she's going to experience them, because that's part of her journey. And she just kind of really needs to learn on her own, instead of me like forcing so much on her. So
It's
it's
true.
helped.
Hmm. I know. I was thinking about when you were talking. My daughter, she's 3, but we had moved last summer to a new location. We moved from Pennsylvania to New Jersey, and we're by the beach. And so I work from home, and I was trying to find a place for her to go for daycare so that I could work during the day. And I finally found one, but she didn't have a great experience. And she wasn't happy there. Like in the beginning, she was. And then I started to notice her behavior was changing, and then one day she was like, "Mommy, the teacher hurt me," and she was just so upset. And I was able to get the story out of her in terms of what happened, but I immediately pulled her out of the school, and was just so upset because like with Ty, I was like, what did I do to like create this experience? but then it's like, our children are going to have their own contrasting experiences as well. And how can I be supportive to her? So I kept her home and had some nannies come in for a couple months, and then really worked on setting the intention for her to have an amazing experience with school. And so September came around. We're already a month into school, and she's just loving it. She's absolutely loving it. And I feel like Taya has made me more aware and in tune with her, because if I hadn't been so in tune, I'd just been like, okay, you're fine. Let's just blow it off and just keep going. But it physically had a reaction with her. Like, she just didn't want to get up. She didn't want to go to school. She wasn't excited. And they're not going to be like that every day. But I feel like as a parent, it's my job to help cultivate the best joyful experience for her. And so I really feel like the tools helped me with that, because I was really devastated when it happened, but I was able to zoom out and see the bigger picture. And like, the solution that's come from it is like 5,000 times more amazing than when we were in the daycare situation. So I feel like I wouldn't have had that appreciation without Taya.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's a
And it
great.
was scary going through it in the beginning, but now looking back, it's like we just worked through it together. She's my little Taya teammate.
Right. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So awesome. And I know, like, it's just as moms, we want to protect. I mean, it's the mama bear instinct, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I often think the same, exactly, like, how did I attract this experience?
Mhm.
But then just looking at it from that other viewpoint, and like how awesome, that like you can feel like, oh, I settled into it and I didn't have to,
Mhm.
train, just kind of let the solution come.
True, because I feel like prior to Taya, one of my limiting beliefs was like, figure out how to make it work, figure out how to make something work, or this is as good as it's going to get. And I really have learned that like there is no ceiling. Like, it can be as great as we imagine. And when I'm not totally set in like having it to look a certain way, it sometimes is even way better than I imagined.
Yes, it's still a work in progress for me,
Yeah.
but absolutely just like letting the universe kind of blow your mind, just like, because that's a big one for me. I always get wrapped up in having to have it be certain ways. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and not always, especially, I have a blended family. And
Mm-hmm.
so things can't always go the way I might have imagined it, but I
Mm-hmm.
just have learned to go with the flow and be okay with the way things are going. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is very beautiful because there's so many different players, and the only thing that we can control is like our vibe. And I've learned that before Taya, and I feel like it's like a no-brainer, but I was such a chronic fixer. Like, I wanted to fix everybody's situation or just fix something about them. Like, this little tweak will make your life so much better. And now I've just given myself permission to like not deal with it. It's not my job. Like, I don't have to fix everybody. It's totally their journey. Just more acceptance of like how people respond, and not having to manipulate their response to fit my needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
Absolutely.
I was going to ask you, like, in terms of your relationships, have you seen your relationships change since Taya?
Oh, absolutely. Because again, I've always been a fixer and
Mm-hmm.
wanted to help people. And it's, brought new light to my eyes to see that, it is about everybody's journey. And I used to always say that, we're all on our own journey.
Yeah.
But just that judgment would still creep in.
Mm-hmm.
And then learning it's okay to judge it. It's okay, to have judgment. It's just part of life. I don't have to even beat myself up about having judgment, but just
Mm-hmm.
recognizing it for what it is.
Yeah.
And just really, really setting back. I mean, having a blended family, I've just noticed. So in my previous relationship, I had stepchildren, and I had,
Mhm.
their mother, their biological mother to deal with, and now I have a new relationship with stepchildren and their mom, and
Mhm.
it's completely night and day how I interact, with my children's mothers, I guess I should,
Mhm.
because yeah, that I just feel like that judgment piece has dropped. I don't need to fix. I don't need to control. Um, Everybody's here to just be who they are.
Mhm.
It's that acceptance.
Yeah. Total radical acceptance for sure. And I feel like the other part of Taya, which really helped me, was like working with triggers because my daughter's father, his mom can sometimes say off the cuff things, and it is what it is. She's very protective of her son. She wants to have the best experience for him, and she just likes to put in her 2 cents. And before, I would just get so triggered and feel like I needed to feed into it, and now I just let her say whatever she needs to say, and I'm like, okay, and just go about my day, because that's her experience, that's her reality, and it's just like it has nothing to do with me. And I liked how you said about judgment is helpful, because I use it as something to discern my preference. Like, I don't judge to harshly judge someone, but I'm kind of like evaluating the situation, person, place, or thing, and seeing if that's an experience that I want to have. So I feel like you're right in saying, like, you don't need to totally eradicate judgment, but it doesn't have to have the same impact that it had on us before.
Right, or like the connotation, I like the preference,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and oftentimes that's what I say. I'll just say something like, "That's awesome, but that's not for me,"
Mhm.
and just being okay to say that, and just being okay to live that, that's
Mhm.
that's somebody else's choice, but that's just not for me.
Right, right.
But
So
yeah,
like as we were prepping, we were talking about songs.
oh
So
yes,
I like this because I feel like it's something fun, to have like a Taya playlist. So one of my songs is Walking on Sunshine.
I
You know
love
that
that
song?
one. Uh-huh.
And I dropped Leah off at school this morning, and when I got back in the car and turned the radio on, that song was on. So I was
Oh
like,
my
this is
goodness.
absolutely a sign that we're like
Yes.
in alignment. It was so
Yes,
great.
that is
Mhm.
so cool. I know you
Mhm.
asked me about songs. I'm a huge, I'm a huge Jimmy Buffett fan. I was raised one, and so, like, that's for me always my go-to. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I have to start thinking of other songs and really create a playlist. That's really cool. But I
Yeah.
know music is so helpful in raising my vibe, so
Mhm.
I love it.
Yes. Um, One of the things I wanted to talk to you about too with David, I don't know if I know Brent can help out anybody who would like to be on the daily emails where the stream of David spits out some inspiration. Are you on that email list?
Yes, I
I
love
love it. I love it.
them.
And when Facebook and Instagram were down, I guess it was last week or the week before, the email
Mhm.
came through, but I wasn't able to post it, just to repost it because it's so amazing. So I wrote it down. And one of the stream's quotes was, "Love yourself so much that you no longer judge any aspect of you. In this state, you have the most to offer humanity." And
I
I
love
think that that's been my whole Taya journey is, loving myself more, not expecting myself to be a perfect human, because just not it's not going to happen. Otherwise, I'm not even going to be in this realm. And it's true, when I'm feeling good about myself, I'm able to be a better mom, a better friend, a better worker, and really taking care of myself. It's just you're able to offer more to other people. So I feel like that quote is so huge.
absolutely. I think, and you don't want to, I mean, it's not society's fault. We all get stuck in it, but there's just so much out there for us to judge ourselves against, these days.
Hmm.
Um, and that's, like sometimes I always think back in my head, there was a there was some saying I saw a long time ago about like if you lived in the middle of nowhere next to a waterfall, like would you really have as much angst, anxiety, judgment? You would just be living your life. And so sometimes I have to take that into consideration about like everything that we have these days. You know, David talks about that a lot. Like, you know, there's pluses and minuses to everything we create, and we've created so much. Um, I guess not social media, but just everything. And so sometimes you just really do, you have to take a step back from it, because I've learned for myself that does, you know, create a lot of judgment for me. But absolutely, as I've learned to quit judging myself and quit holding myself to such these crazy standards, it's you're more able to enjoy being you. You're more
Mhm.
able to enjoy being in the moment, and just being in appreciation of all that you
Mhm.
do have.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since we don't really have a format, do you have any questions for me?
Um. Well. Ah, I guess. Oh, it's on the spot.
That's okay. Never
Yeah,
mind.
no, I didn't think of any too much. Um, but
It's
just
all
with
good.
you, with your mastery experience, because I know you're kind of new to that. You talked
Mhm.
about it a little bit earlier, but what's that? What's that kind of like for you?
Yeah, well, with boot camp, it was, I would say for both experiences, super transformative because my boot camp experience was I had just left my daughter's father and was living with a friend and just had hit an emotional and financial bottom. And I felt like the biggest thing I was able to manifest up to that point was my daughter. You know, I didn't think I would be able to have a baby. And I set the intention to have her. And then I found out I was pregnant. I was like, oh my gosh. But then after I would set a huge intention, I would always have this backlash experience. And it was almost like I was punishing myself for the manifestations.
Oh,
So boot camp was really transformative in the way that like I went about loving myself and not feeling like I had a price to pay and just knowing I was worthy just because. And then I've been living at the beach for like a year now, almost 2 years actually, and started boot camp, no, Mastery 6 months ago. So that was like another leap in the thought process of like more worthiness, more self love, um, having bigger dreams and knowing that I can accomplish them. Because I feel like as a single mom, you feel very limited in your resources and, you have those pressures. And I'm just not really ready to get into another committed relationship or have a blended family yet. That's just for me. But I know that when I'm ready, it's going to be amazing. And so, mastery for me has just been allowing the universe to do its job and fill my life with more abundance, even in things that aren't so tangible. Because with boot camp, I was able to manifest a new car, a new place to live. I was able to manifest my job going remote. And with mastery, it's more about manifesting like more peace with the journey. Because I'm kind of like all right, hurry up already. Like, where's the manifestation? Where's the next goal that I need to crush? And like, what's the bigger house that I'm going to get next? And it really was just kind of like, let's just bring you down a couple notches and get you into a space of what you had said earlier, is just appreciating the present moment and all that it has.
that's beautiful. Couple
Mhm.
things. Like one thing I just love too now with boot camp ending, just the expanded program that was created, and then having
Yes.
the option of mastery, because
Hmm.
I just love that there's continued growth. It's not like boot camp and then you're done. You have
Yes.
that choice. And so I really love that we have that now within the
Me
Taya practice.
too. Hmm.
And then another thing you mentioned, I feel so much the price to pay. Like that is so huge. Because I know for me, after my daughter's father passed away, I did go through a bout of like just feeling like I didn't deserve, and I had such abundance coming my way, but I felt like I almost didn't deserve it. So I really like didn't enjoy it. And so for me now, it's like having, a new family after a tragedy. It's like hard. You almost feel like I don't deserve this. Like
Mhm.
I shouldn't be enjoying myself. And that was one thing, working with Stacy and in boot camp, I really, just reframed my thoughts around that. And so it was super, super helpful. Um, because, we so often think like there is a price to pay, or it's not fair because why should I have all this when, others don't? And so
Mhm.
it's real easy to, I think, get caught up in that. And when your life is going so great, you keep
Right.
thinking about the others who might be struggling,
Yeah. No, I get that survivor's guilt type of thing because one of my huge trauma pieces, I would say, that I was able to make peace with during Thai boot camp was my brother was arrested and he was charged for a crime that he didn't commit with a really heavy sentence. And I just remember my first call with David when I had gotten into boot camp, and it's kind of like the kickoff call, and explaining to him like I don't know how I'm ever going to get through talking about my brother's incarceration without crying. I mean, and at that point, he got arrested in 2012, and I started boot camp 2019. So it was still like 7 years later, and I couldn't get through it without crying. And just being able to heal that was huge for me, and being able to zoom out and not have such resentments against the prosecutor and the whole community that kind of like turned against my brother, and it was like on the news, and just being at peace and like knowing that in some way, shape, or form it's in perfect order with the universe, and it's serving its purpose. And I still get to have a relationship with my brother. Like I still connect with him on a weekly basis, and it's like he's not totally out of my life. So, getting to heal that and be positive for him, because when you're in prison you can really get into a mindset of like this is as good as it's going to get, and I'm not going to try to be a better person. There's like no motivation to reform who you are. And I feel like from me staying positive, it just helps him to be in a positive mindset. And he was like, yeah, when I get out, when I hit my minimum, which his minimum is in another 9 years, he had a 20-year minimum sentence. And I'm just like, yep, it's going to be great. We're going to get to do stuff again, and just staying optimistic about it. And I had been in therapy before. I have a master's in counseling psychology. I love therapy. I love those modalities. Everything helps. But for me, I needed something more. And Thai boot camp was really able to give me that more that I needed with that experience. It's huge.
That's just, yeah, that's huge right there. That's
Mm-hmm.
so huge. And how lucky he is to have you, of
Yeah.
course, to be
Thanks.
that
Yeah.
guiding light, to help
Yeah.
remind him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like, unimaginable to think, but like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, for some of us, I mean, it really is just, uh, we think, gosh, our lives are bad. And then we look at others, but it's too just remembering like there's always a tomorrow. There's always, that's something to look
Mm-hmm.
forward to. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness.
I
That's
know. I
huge.
mean, I used to like cry in the car to work, like, oh my gosh, I can drive to work and he can't, and I can listen to songs on the radio and he can't. And it was just
Yeah.
crazy. Like the I had myself in my own prison too.
Right.
Yeah,
And
totally
so,
stuck and limited.
yeah, so you've
Yeah.
helped them find peace, with what it is,
Mm-hmm.
what it is at the moment. Oh my goodness. But yeah,
Yeah.
just keep looking forward.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I
Oh my
remember
god.
that time. I don't remember like it's like what module it was, but I just remember, when you're in boot camp, there's definitely more of a intention to meditate and give yourself time to process, which is huge because like that's important for us to heal. And I remember one day I was doing a meditation and I literally saw the prison gates of my mind open and like me just walk out. And I was like, I'm done with it. Like it's okay. I've totally healed it. And Carrie was my mentor at the time. So I just remember telling her, like, oh my gosh, this is huge for me.
That is so
Yeah.
awesome.
Hmm.
Especially to have like that visual like representation of like seeing it,
Yeah.
seeing like the jail that you
Yeah. I'm so
put our
grateful I'm a
minds.
visual person because it really impacted me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you have anything pop up for you either during boot camp or after that was kind of healing that you didn't really have the intention for, but just came anyway?
So one, yes, one, you know how we go into our transgressors,
Mm-hmm.
for sure when we first, meet and do our initial, like what we want to work on. And I think it was after boot camp, after I'd gotten out, but I was having a conversation with someone
Mm-hmm.
and talking about something I was going to do. And I have an older sister. She's 13 months older than me. And she's always been, in my ear as like a kid, just
Mm-hmm.
like telling me what to do and this and that. And I had, toyed with the idea of her being like a transgressor, but
Mm-hmm.
never really like explored it too much. Because I was busy working on others. But it was funny because when I was having a conversation with one, like her voice just popped into my head saying
Right.
like, that's dumb, you can't do that, and I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa, oh my goodness, that needs to be worked on. So, but it was just kind of crazy how I just heard her. I was thinking about doing something, and immediately it was her voice I heard telling me, like,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be good at that. Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Because when you were talking, I was thinking about like these tools we have when we get to use them every day and for the rest of our lives, and how just never, it's like there's so many options. I love saying that Taya gave me options because I didn't feel like I had options before. And I love watching how it grows because you had mentioned earlier about Expand. It wasn't even around when I was in boot camp, and now it's so new and it's exciting. And then there's Mastery, and I know there's going to be a lot of little other programs in between there because it just continues to grow. And
Right.
it really can apply to every facet of our life, which is huge. Because when I went in, I was like, I only want to deal with relationships and money,
Right.
and I had no idea what else would come out of that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
My big one going into it was just that self-empowerment because I felt like a lot like I was, gosh, and our great friend Deborah Wilson, talked about it too in one of the things, but I felt like just kind of like a tumbleweed blowing in the wind with no direction.
Mm.
You just kind of end up like taking each storm as it comes.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just wanted to create more direction. And so when you talk about intentions and just really, really honing in on that and having your daily intentions and really picking, I know there was an episode and we do it in boot camp as well, but writing our code,
Yeah.
really writing down what we want rather than being so reactive, right?
Right.
It's
Or
more
sticking with
proactive.
what we're used to.
Right, right.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
we're never really given those tools in life, right? Like how to
Hmm.
be we just react to situations as they come.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
having it's so true what you say, because Chaya does it just gives you so many more options, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to deal with I mean, you still deal with everything,
Yeah.
but it's your choice. It's a
Right. It's
choice.
more empowering and you find the options when you're up your spiral.
Yeah.
I know. I know, like even as like simple as for me, like I couldn't figure out a way that I was going to pay for my tires. My car needed 4 new tires. And like you still, the abundance comes in different ways. It comes in different spurts.
Right.
And I was like hammering, hammering, hammering. How am I going to get 4 new tires in my car? And then finally I just like let it go. And then one morning the solution came to me, and I was able to get money out of an account that I forgot that I had. And it was in my savings account. So I was able to draw it from savings and pay for my tires. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it was so simple once I was totally up my spiral about it and not hammering. And like there's
Right.
always options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned earlier that your background is in psychology counseling,
Yes.
and so is mine. And so I think for me too, that's why I was like, I want Nicole to be my mentor just because we had that connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I too, I work in the medical field. And I see so much and how it's not as, I just think Thai is so much more helpful,
Oh, yes.
like we talked
Hmm.
about with the options. There's just so many more options than, sometimes what's out there in just the regular, the regular
Right. You have to
mental
have a
health.
diagnosis code or fall into this personality disorder, or it's like, yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. You gotta be you. You gotta be okay with who you are,
Hmm.
and you gotta grow from there.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I know. Now I do insurance full time, but I do my own coaching business and Reiki on the side.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, when I was counseling, it was in the drug and alcohol field, and I got burned out real quick. I don't know. Now that I have Taya, I know for sure with trusting my abundance and being empowered that profession isn't for me. And I think that if I hadn't had Taya, I would have kept hammering and eventually try to go back to it and make a living out of it because that's what my degree is in, and I should do it. And I
Right.
feel like with Taya, it was like more of an opportunity for me to believe that like my counseling skills can transfer over into coaching skills, and also provide energy healing through the Reiki. And I don't know, I just love that. Like because I grew up and I didn't feel like I had options. The way that I
Right.
grew up. Yeah.
No, I can
Literally. Yeah, it was like not the best vibe, total poverty mindset, dealing with addiction. And so, like, it was just like, this is the way it is, and we have to make the best of it. And I don't feel like that anymore. Like, it doesn't have to be this way, and there are options to change it.
right. And I think just the community too. Like I always get back to that because
Yes.
they say when you surround yourself with like-minded people,
Mm-hmm.
you grow. And, I look back sometimes at who I was surrounding myself with, in years
Mm-hmm.
prior. And the mindset was just not there,
Yeah.
And so I get so grateful, all of our chats and stuff that we do as a group, but it's
Mm-hmm.
so wonderful because everybody is just so encouraging of each other and
Yeah.
just, it's like I mean, my work environment right now, it's women,
Mm-hmm.
and we know how catty and stuff like that it can be working with a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of women, and it's so beautiful because with the Taya community, it's just not like that. Everybody's rooting for each
I
other,
know. I do love that. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I pinch
Yep.
myself every day because it's just like it's so awesome to just be surrounded by people that really, want to see you grow and want to see your
Mm-hmm.
dreams come true
I
and are
know. It's so
rooting you
true.
on, cheering you on.
Mhm.
And so,
Mhm. True.
yeah.
Yeah, I do. I love that. I feel like I am still surrounded by people that would consider themselves to be realists. And I like that's my contrast because I do have the Thai community, which is like super open minded and the sky's the limit. And then I have people in my life where I physically see them and it's just like so very black and white. So I'm trying to get in better alignment with like being able to have more open-minded people in my life, like physically.
Got
And
you.
so that's like my intention that I've been setting. Like the moms at school, like I would love to have play dates with Leah. So I've set the intention to make some new mom friends. And but yeah, it's like when you're talking Taya to the general audience, it's like how do you frame it?
Absolutely.
Mhm,
I struggle with that because,
mhm.
I mean, people notice, people can see, once you go through boot camp that you're different.
Yeah.
And I mean, I actually had a situation with my sister where she's like, you're just different now and I don't like it. And
Mhm.
it was kind
Yeah.
of crazy. And I just had to let it be what it was. And you
Right.
feel so bad because you want to bring them with you. Like, come on.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
but again, it's that no judgment. It's that letting each person really experience their own journey.
Yeah.
So for me, like, because work is a very, like low vibe place. And
Right.
so sometimes we talk about, because I mean, that was a big reason too why I joined Taya Bootcamp was because I was just not in appreciation, of my career work experience. And I
Mhm.
knew that I didn't want to just quit or anything like that because then I was going to take that energy with me. And so it was really trying
Yeah.
to find ways in which I could appreciate
Yes.
I was dealing with. And so sometimes the best way that I do it is I just appreciate the fact that maybe I'm there to bring the sunshine, to the department, to bring the laughter,
Mhm.
and just appreciating that aspect of it, just finding
Yeah.
appreciation for showing up, and being there to inspire others. So
Yeah, you're trusting your journey with it because I feel like if you hadn't had appreciation for the job and for the people that you work for, you wouldn't have that inspired creation to start the business you have now with your partner. And
right.
I think having Taya as a cornerstone of that, it's just going to be super successful and huge for you both.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm so glad I have my Taya tools to fall back on,
Yeah.
especially and I'm excited. Like I don't, like with the business starting, it's like I don't look at it like for smooth sailing. Like
No, I know.
I know there's going to be bumps in the road, but doing the intentions daily for it,
Mhm.
and just kind of knowing that I have my toolkit, my tool pack. Things are going to be okay, and it's just that that trust that we always
Yeah.
talk about, just
Yeah.
really trusting.
Well, talking about the toolkit, you kind of mentioned it in a roundabout way, but one of the things that you and I both use are the 3 to 5. So listing 3 to 5 things that we're grateful for about that situation. And it's huge in terms of employment because I mean, I haven't job hopped in a while, but I feel like at some point I did job hop and you're going to keep recreating those situations with those people. So it's like finding 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for on a daily basis with that job just creates more joy in your life, even if the job's not changing, which I love.
Right. That's a
Hmm.
big one for me. And we talked about that
Hmm.
when you were my mentor, just, doing my gratitude in the morning when I got to
Hmm.
work, and it really did help.
Hmm. What
Yeah.
other things do you feel that you utilize that work best for you? Oh, I got a
I know,
little
I did
message pop up.
too.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Well,
that was.
hello, whoever you are. It popped up and then disappeared.
Well, other tools, I mean, just
Yeah.
the breathing, stopping to breathe
Yeah.
because that's one thing I do sometimes struggle with is when I do get triggered, just wanting to react. And so
Hmm.
having that stopgap and taking some breaths and really, really clearing my
Yeah.
mind and not getting pulled down.
Yeah.
Questioning whether is this worth, with the kids, and they're trying their best to always be on their best behavior, but sometimes things happen, and it's just asking myself, is this worth going down my spiral for?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm definitely grateful for the polarity of up the spiral and down the spiral because for me, I know before Taya, I was down the spiral a lot. And then implementing Taya into my life, I'm up the spiral a lot. But you're going to have that pull just like with gravitation. Like it just happens. And then it's almost like the tools of Taya help me to recalibrate and find balance again because it's like, okay, I've been down the spiral, but I don't need to be there for days like I used to be.
right.
Notice that it gets shorter and shorter the more that I practice it.
Right. I do that too. And then I love the part of not judging ourselves when we are down,
True. I mean, I would definitely still judge the crap out of myself.
No.
Having been a graduate and a master, I'm like, oh, I'm down the spiral and I'm judging myself. It's defeating the purpose. It's like you're human, so it is what it is.
Right. And I've just, always been, I guess I've always had that like on my shoulders. Like I am a happy, joyful person. And so
Mhm,
I've always taken that on as I have to create happiness and joy for everybody else, but just
mhm,
allowing myself to be like, you know what? I'm having a bad day and it's okay.
mhm.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
I know. That's one thing that I remember saying in one of my calls was like, I would have a bad week, and I haven't had a bad week in a really long time, and I'm very grateful for that. I think another aspect that Taya like illuminated for me, especially with the just stopping to pause to breathe, like you had mentioned, was
Mhm.
with my anxiety because I was getting way more anxiety after Taya and after the boot camp experience because I was just not trusting that in this moment everything's supposed to be, and I don't have to be 6 months into the future. Like it doesn't exist anyway. So
Right.
really, the breathing really is good with centering, and zoom out is the one that I love the most. I just
Oh,
love
yes.
seeing it from the source of perspective is so healing for me. I don't know where I would be without that tool,
Yeah.
honestly.
That is a good one because it
Yeah.
just helps. It helps so much to, to see it in that loving, compassionate way.
Mhm.
Everything that's transpiring,
Mhm.
for our greatest good,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm,
I know.
love it.
It's so great getting to chat with you. I
I
can't
know.
believe the hour's almost up. I was like,
I
"Oh my gosh."
know. I know. We just got into the flow.
I know, we did. So what do you see for yourself, like, with, like, this next week coming up for you? Any goals that you have or I don't know, anything?
Um, I'm all trying to think. I'm all, what day is it?
I know, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, for me, you just helped me conquer a huge goal, because I'm not very fond of being on video camera, and
Yay!
so this in and of itself was like a huge goal, accomplishing for myself, just because I was so excited when you said it was you that I was going to chat with, because I'm like, I know, I'll just feel comfortable like chatting with her. So
It
uh,
was definitely meant to be because when
yeah.
that message came through and you're like, I'll be on. And I was like, I have to do it now. This is Erica. And you're like one of my favorite people. And it's like just getting the
Yay.
opportunity to chat with you about our favorite subjects. It's like
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, but I'm definitely, looking into like, I love being part of the Taya community.
Mhm.
I haven't done any mentoring yet, but I'm excited. When the time is right, it will happen.
Yes. Yes.
And so just, just in the meantime, working on stuff like this for myself, and really, plugging away
Yes.
at different aspects.
Yeah, you're growing in so many ways. Yeah. Pushing the limits.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Now, how
Yeah.
about you? You have anything coming
Yeah, well, when you say about being in the community, I look forward to our Friday calls. So like today is Wednesday and I'm already on Friday, like getting to see everybody on Friday, which is exciting. Um, and that's for the coaching program. And so the rest of the week is just me and Leah, which is really nice. And the weather hasn't been so great, but I'm going to try and take her to the playground today. And we've got to go last night, and letting her be her own child is sometimes really hard, especially seeing her interact on the playground because
Oh,
she's 3. And I
yeah.
legitimately think that she thinks she's older. Like she probably thinks she's like 5 or 6. And
Mhm.
she doesn't really grasp all the concepts yet. Like she's just a friendly, loving person. She'll go right up to someone, say hello, and like put her hands on them. And some people, especially with COVID, don't like to be touched. So it's like that's really me putting my Taya tools into practice because I'm like, no, no, honey, don't touch. We're just like trying to gently remind her, like, not everybody likes to be touched, honey, and
I
just let
know
her
that
do her thing.
the term helicopter mom, I'm so guilty.
Mm,
So guilty. But I remember when Paige was in that stage too, and she is, I mean, even at 8, she's 25, ready to move out. And so she's ready. She's ready for the
mm-hmm.
world. So it's neat because she's so in so many ways so opposite of me. She's just so outgoing and so yeah,
Yeah.
so outgoing. I had another word and I
Mm-hmm.
lost it, but yeah. So it's sometimes that zooming out, that we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about earlier. I love to just be able to zoom out and just watch her in her element. It just is like this is amazing.
Yes, I know. I do appreciate watching her more at the playground at school, just because I know she knows everybody. So I'm
Right?
not as like anxious, and I
Yeah,
just get to see her free play and run, and I enjoy it more when I'm at the playground with her. I feel like I have to be in mom mode more, and I don't get to
yeah.
enjoy it as much. Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
absolutely. It's that balance. It's that everyday struggle for sure.
I know. I
Oh.
know. Yeah. Well, we have a few more minutes left. I wish I would have been able to see the questions or comments anybody had, so I do apologize that I can't see
I
anything.
think if I oh yeah, there's some.
Okay.
Um, I had to take it off private chat, and then there's just a
Oh,
little
okay.
hello.
Oh, hi,
Somebody's first time
Debbie.
here.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes. Well, welcome.
welcome, welcome. And then some names I can't see.
Um, Deborah said, thank you both for such a high vibe, inspiring chat. That was a lovely hour. And Erica, you are truly a fabulous mentor. You
Aw,
are. I
aw,
love how our people come and support us. Thank you,
yeah,
everybody. Sam and Deborah and Carrie.
so
Thank you
great.
so much. All right. Well, we do have a few minutes left, and now that we've discovered how to find
I know.
your questions and comments, if anybody wants to put in a question for us, we have a couple minutes.
We're the newbies, right?
Yeah, right. We totally took this and ran with it, so I
Yeah.
appreciate that about both of us. All right, well, nobody seems to have any questions, but you can always ask later. Like I said, we're definitely a part of the Taya page, so we're there.
We're always hanging out in the group, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And
So,
I just thank you for your time so much.
well, thank you. I thank you for
Mhm.
being here with me, holding my hand.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then I think if we both maybe hit leave, it probably will cut us off when it's which is like in about a minute. But so if anybody, I know there was a super shameless plug about Taya Bootcamp, but that's what we know. It's closest to our hearts. So if anybody has any questions about that, please reach out on the page. Don't be afraid to ask. And the one thing that I loved that David always made true for me, there was no pressure to join. It was just whenever it aligned for me, and it aligned at the perfect time. My first login was October 30th, and my mom anniversary of when she died was October 31st. So it was like divinely met for me. Like it was meant for
Right.
me to start at that time. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing
I
that I love.
I did my discovery call and signed up on my 40th birthday.
Yes,
So it was,
queen, yes.
yes, it was like the day. And I just decided, like, I deserve this for me. Like, I just,
Mhm.
I deserve this for me.
Yeah,
I'm worth it. Yeah.
we are. So
Love
that's
it.
what we're going to take into the rest of the week: ultimate self-love and knowing that we're worthy. And
Beautiful.
yes, and with that, we're going to end. It was so great to see you.
So great talking with you, Nicole.
Okay, bye.
Bye.